In this presentation, I prepared mostly for graduate students, but in general, anyone who wants to apply for teaching position. And I'll be talking about all teaching positions in the United States in the college level, in the university level, and my hints and my experience with that too. So first of all, let me show you that I did not plan to create any slides and then end up to be very, very obsessed with it accidentally. Look at this. Passion for teaching, strong documents, common mistakes, make connections, show results, recommendation. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Like, I will show you one more time. I'm very proud about this. I found it. So I am a associate teaching professor at our department. My name is Julia. And I share my experiences because when I was a graduate student, I applied for 160 jobs, knowing that I will need a visa. So I knew that I need to apply twice or 3 times more than a person with American citizenship or green card. And then I went to lots of interviews. So I have lots of experience as a graduate student and as a faculty member as well. And I was working in the hiring committee before too. So all of this combined gives some kind of idea of what I think will be helpful for people to know when they apply for teaching positions. So classic list of documents, your CV, your resume, make sure it's good. I will not be talking about it at all. Someone wants to come in. Come in, come in, come in, come in. Yes, no problem. Just for you, I will repeat the first slide because I really like it. Are you watching? Are you watching? Look at this. So impressive. Look at this first slide. I know, right? Not obnoxious at all. So I will not be talking about CV because you need to know how to do it, put everything there. Don't forget any conference, any workshop, any mentoring, put everything there. And if you're applying for teaching position, move your teaching awards to the top and move research stuff to the bottom, a bit lower, not to the bottom, but lower. So craft your CV for the teaching position. And then you need to write teaching statement, teaching philosophy. That's the hardest part in my point of view. Cover letter for each place you apply. Diversity letters if they're required. Not all universities require them. And recommendation letters from other people, which you don't create. That's why I put it separately at the end. You need to ask for them. So, yes?
So as I think now some places ask for a statement of broadening impact in mathematical sciences or something.
Yeah.
That's similar to a diversity letter.
Yeah, similar to diversity letter, the statement of broadening of impact. So you should see what new stuff they keep figuring out, keep creating for the applications, and then do your best. And I will be talking about diversity letter, no matter how it's called, what to put there. Teaching statement is the hardest part. At least for me, it was the hardest part because it's a creative process. So you should try to show your passion. Start with something personal. You don't have to do it, but I noticed in American culture, most people do that. So I also did it. Oh, I'm a Ukrainian student applying to be a passionate teacher because I love teaching here. Here's my experience. So sometimes people share experiences from childhood. It's a very like local culture thing. So you can decide to do it or not. Mention your thoughts on how you teach, mentor minority and English as a second language students. Bring this up right away, that you are very involved in the community, help your students, mentor them. Recognize the diversity, importance of diversity and issues of minorities in your classroom. Mention your contribution to the new school you're going to, how you will contribute, broaden their teaching experiences, how you will help, promote, and blah, blah, blah. And you will be an amazing asset no matter what school you apply. Mention your teaching goals and sound inspiring. Don't sound fake. Yes, you're teaching right now, but there's so many things to learn and you want to go to conferences and you want to bring this idea you have in your mind into your classroom, but you're not allowed because you're TA and so on and so on, and sound inspiring. Yeah.
Those like for example, those conferences should be to teaching research or any.
So I'm saying that you put list of conferences in CV, and then in this mention conferences about teaching and about whatever helps you to teach better. So in my case, I listed that I go to, and I still go to conferences and talks about mathematical biology, mathematical physics, because I listen to new stuff and then I bring into my classrooms. So when I teach calculus 2 or 3, I bring magnetic fields and black holes because I learned about that from the conference. or population modeling of zebrafish, which I learned from the talk about that. So I do that because I like it. So you can mention something that you like as well. And there are also conferences about diversity, trainings about that too. I will be mentioning it later. Put it there too, that you want to go to more, learn more, but most importantly, you bring it to your classroom at your school who you're applying to. And that makes it very good. Look, it looks very good. That's a good question. Include specific examples. Too many teaching statements are too vague. It's like you put it in ChatGPT and it gives you a perfect teaching statement. Make personal examples. There was a student and you spent hours and the student had a disability and you worked so hard and the student almost quit it, but they did not and then succeeded and now they're in PhD program or whatever it is. And you were mentoring someone and then your coordinator told you, you're amazing in mentoring in this, you should continue. Mention specific examples. And if you don't have them, make them. Like it means you need to think about it more and make specific examples to put them on paper. Common mistakes, people often mention too much research in their teaching statement. Teaching statement. You put research in the research statement. So it's surprisingly a common thing, probably because people are passionate about their research, which makes sense. And they kind of go off trail and start putting it there. Yes, you're passionate about math, but you're passionate about math and teaching, and suddenly it becomes 5 paragraphs about your math research. Yeah.
Would be more powerful if the papers or research was conducted with the student or with, the student you mentor?
The student you mentioned?
You mentor,
Oh, mention students you mentored and?
like if you do,
Oh,
papers
research.
with
You should mention that
that would-
because mention mentoring, yeah. So research, mentioning research is fine, just don't do it too much. Because you mentioned,
In order to say that I was
Yes.
working with my undergraduate.
yes, connect everything to teaching.
Okay.
I mean, if you cannot, it's fine to mention that you love topology and so that's your passion, and then move on to teaching. So don't make a whole 3 paragraphs about what you did for your dissertation, unless it's math education. Yeah. So own what you did, because the language matters, how you write all things. Quite often people say, and then someone helped me, and then I did this, and then I think I hope to do it in the future. No, you did it, you developed, you implemented. I know it, I'm improving, I'm learning, I'm collaborating, I decided. So own what you write to look good. I was helping several people with this specific issue and it sounded too humble. My coordinator helped me, so I hope to do it in the future. No, you did it. You did it, you got it, you learned it. So you should be proud about that. I mean, you can use ChatGPT. In the past, I was using writing centers. I would go to writing center every week and they would help me with English part of the teaching statement. But nowadays, you can use ChatGPT or any AI, which is fine. I wrote this presentation partially with the use of ChatGPT, mostly by doing the grammar check. I write down what I want with my thought, put it in ChatGPT and ask, please proofread, but don't change anything. It proofreads and shows me the typos in A versus Z and so on. That is something I highly recommend. It looks more professional and nice. However, well, for English as second language or international students, it's actually the best thing ever, because now I don't have to rely on someone in the writing center being there, helping me. I can do it at any time of the day. But don't lose your personality. Don't use too many fancy words unless you're doing it in real life. So, of course, there are people who are amazing. They have amazing vocabulary. If you don't, maybe you should not use it. Make it personal. So don't lose your personality through ChatGPT. It's too obvious when you read it. It's too obvious you do not write it. So I'm not sure how it will be perceived by the committee, hiring committee. Committees are all different. People are all different. Some of them might be very against ChatGPT, saying, okay, they don't even care to write their own personal statement. Some of them might not. I would say, oh, maybe they're foreigner and that help them to construct better English. So I cannot guarantee how it will be perceived. So I think that is the best middle here. Use it for grammar check and proofreading, but don't lose your personality.
Use ChatGPT to write some information letters. And then after several times, I found that all the letters it generates to me is in a very specific style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then if I receive email from students, especially
International students, yes.
if they use ChatGPT, I can tell it from the.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah, I guess if the committee with like 500 applicants,
They
can
will
tell
see it.
immediately, and
Yeah.
if I were.
That's a very good point. They will tell immediately. I don't claim it's a bad thing, but some people might think that it is. So being thinking about that, I would say make it personal, make it unusual. Some people make unusual teaching statements. They have a whole story with conversations there, and it's very interesting to read. And there's no size restriction, but you should not have 25 pages. So usually it's 4 pages, 3 pages is good enough, 2 pages. Yeah, I think I was always writing more and I shrink the font and everything to put
When
more.
they actually read,
If you become top 3, top 5 candidates, yes. And then it also depends on how big the pool of applicant and how lazy the committee members are, because they're always different people. So here's that. Recommendation letters. Reach out to people who like your teaching. Don't ask people to write you letters if they don't like your teaching. No, it's unfortunately people do that sometimes because maybe it's your advisor, but if they don't like your teaching, don't ask them for teaching letter, ask them for anything else. So there are letters sometimes that makes it worse. So be careful with that. But also, how can you ask someone about your teaching if they never seen your teaching? That goes to the first step, schedule class observations. Now, you should not receive a letter saying that I never seen this person teaching, but I'm sure they're fine. That is a bad letter, and they show up quite often. Make sure they actually saw you doing work. Because 3 paragraphs saying that you're an amazing person, but at the end it says, I actually never seen them teaching. That kind of, no, that's not what we need. So make sure those people saw you teaching, show them documents, show them your notes, show them your amazing animations, whatever you created, websites, Desmos, and then show them your class and ask them for a good recommendation letter. Ask people who like you. Don't ask people who don't like you. If you have like hesitation that that person respects you, maybe don't ask them. Because sometimes letters are saying like, oh, this person is not really responsible. That says in the letter. You don't want that to be your letter. So mention the points you want in your recommendation letter. That's the most awkward part, but you definitely should do it. It's awkward to say, hey, a person who is definitely writing me a letter right now, can you write about me being amazing in this? Very compassionate to teacher, to students, very good colleague. Can you mention that my English is good? It's very awkward to say it, but you should. It helps a lot to both sides, you and them, to know what not to think about too much. So they don't have to be now too creative. You already gave them a list, they can try to put it there. Some points can be from your teaching statement. Of course, you're going to send them teaching statement, which means you need to use it. You need to start writing it ahead of time. It took me almost a year to write mine, but I don't speak English, so that was a big problem for me to make it beautiful. But it's a creative process, so you need to start early. Take some pieces of it and send also saying, I want this to be in my letter. Can you please put it this? The specific part, I'm really proud about it. Ask for a strong recommendation letter, no matter what letter it is, your research letter, your work letter. In this presentation, I talk about teaching. So teaching recommendation letter, ask for a strong one, because then they will deny if they don't feel like writing you a strong letter. That is important. Mention in the letter, in the email, can you please give me a strong recommendation letter? Then they will feel like, I don't really know you that much, and say, sorry, I'm too busy. And they will not explain why, but this is better than having not a strong letter. So we see letters with 1 paragraph saying nothing. That is a bad letter. Don't ask people like this. And if you ask them, ask for a strong letter. If they cannot do it, they usually just deny. So it is better to do it this way. I think so. And ask a month ahead at least. If you ask too close to the deadline, people have right to deny. If they're too busy, that's your fault. So what kind of key points you would like them to mention in the letter? The most awkward part, which I already mentioned. However, it's very convenient to ask about, for example, if you don't speak English as a first language, ask them to write down that your English is amazing, or maybe it is not amazing. So ask that it's good enough for your work, for teaching, for writing, because people do question that. If they know you're a foreigner, they do question that, even if they never say it out loud. So it's nice to have a proof of that from people who work with you. Now, any personal important information you're comfortable sharing, ask me to put it there if you want to. It can be, why did you skip a whole year? It can be some hospitalization, pregnancy, personal struggles. If you feel like that will help your application, ask them to mention it. If you don't feel comfortable, don't. So it's very personal decision to make. Make sure it makes you look strong, amazing, the best. Whatever you put there, make sure it doesn't make you look worse. So about the English part, it should not say something like, oh, for English, it's actually not that good, but I think it will work fine for teaching. Okay, don't do that. Ask them to make it clear that you can work and you will improve even more. Something like that. Cover letter. Cover letter is the letter you attach for each application. Yeah.
So all of the offer letters will be in the last, from people that have seen teaching in the last 2 years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years.
Oh, that's a good question. How old they are? The fresher, the better. So I think 2 years usually is like I would say 2 years is already getting like to the edge to be too far. But what if you went to industry, which is just my friend asked me yesterday. She wants to teach, but her evaluation from her teaching is 3 years old. But there's nothing else to use because she was not teaching. Yeah, if there's nothing else to use that and explain that you were working in industry, but you miss teaching and you want to be teaching. So it's still gonna work fine, and people do hire people from industry for experience and
So one more thing, so if, how good would be to, like, to mention the people that is writing the letter to include the evaluations, if they are good for.
yeah,
Is that?
it is good.
Yeah,
Ask them to include evaluations if they're good for sure.
they are supervisors.
Yes.
They have that.
Oh yeah, do that. And if they don't have access, send your own, because you have some students evaluation. Send them and say, you can include some committee members don't feel like it's important, but some do. So I think it's better to have it rather than not, in case someone think they are important. So the question about the old letters, the fresher, the better. So this year is the best. The year you're applying, your very recent teaching and so on. Moreover, if something changed since your application and now you're having interviews and now you're teaching a cool class and you're so amazing, mention it during the interview. I don't have evaluation of this class because I just started teaching it and it's amazing and I'm amazing. Mention that too. So whatever changed since that time is still very good to mention. Cover letter must be different for each application. It is a good thing to do. It's hard. I applied for 160 jobs as a graduate student, and I created 160 different cover letters. I had folders, yeah, because I needed visa. So I knew that many of them will deny due to visa, but they don't mention it if they cannot provide visa or not. So I applied to a lot, and it took me a lot of time. I created all the folders for each different university, and each different university would have something different in it. Of course, you copy paste the main part. Thank you for looking at my application. I'm feeling very happy. But some things have to be different. To do that, you research the website of the university. All universities have something specific you can talk about. Mention what specifically interests you about the place you're applying to. And I will have examples in the next slide. Start with your degree and experience in teaching. Again, don't start with research. Do it later. Say, oh, by the way, my research is in this, and I'm very passionate in topology. But because you're applying for a teaching position, keep that in mind, that you're applying for teaching position. Mention your achievements, workshops in the cover letter. Don't have to list them, don't make it long. Make it just looking nice that you're a strong applicant and you're so happy that they will review your application. You must sound passionate and excited right away. It's your first introduction to them. This is the first thing the people usually read. So you're passionate, you're excited for specific university, even though you applied for 160. But you're super passionate for this specific one every time. Sound very interested in that specific place and position. So it's the best thing to recommend to do. If you're very bad in writing passionate stuff, force yourself. Just do it for the application's sake. You can mention if you're eager to relocate, for example, but you don't have to. That's why it's a question mark. If you really like the place, like say Colorado Springs is a beautiful known place with mountains, and you're like, I always dreamed to live there. Mention that too. I always dreamed to teach at your school, and I always dreamed to live in this place. but you don't have to. It's some places also not very interesting to live at, so maybe don't mention that if it's in the middle of nowhere. That will be openly a lie, I guess. Do not start with research. Show them that teaching is your biggest passion. Examples. I thought it would be nice to show what am I talking about. Collect all the information about each university college department, so you can shrink it, focus on the department. And you will be using it later when you get to the interviews part. So when I start getting my interviews out of all of those applications, which were a lot of interviews, I could easily open the folder of the interview I have in 2 hours and look through what is so special about it, because I already did it before. Oh, that specific department is big. I should mention that, how I like it so big, or it is specific. And so on. Now, mention something, for example, oh, it's a beautiful or convenient location, like mountains, a beautiful ocean, or whatever you can mention, or it's like convenient, close to your family, very nice, close to the airport, so you can fly often to visit someone in New York. That is also nice to mention. Then it gives some kind of feeling that you're already envisioning yourself relocating, and people like that.
So what if the answer to the interview does not match, or do not match the cover letter?
No, they better match.
Or
So
they-
don't write stuff about the place that doesn't match what I'm saying. If the place is in the middle of nowhere, do not write about convenient location.
No. What I mean is, what if, I have to prepare again the cover letter
Mhm.
for the interview, but what if I forget what I put in the cover letter?
Yeah, it would be nice to check. And that also helps you to prepare to that specific interview and repeat things you mentioned in the letter. I see your point. I guess don't lie. Like if you don't lie, then you don't have to remember. But don't make things up. Huh?
160 is a lot.
Yeah, but most of them were pretty sincere. I remember clearly that I would forget how big the department is, so what are people there, what's location. So reviewing that helped a lot to be passionate about something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. But I remember I did not make up anything because my memory is bad, so I would definitely forget. So I try to be honest about everything. You can mention, oh my goodness, your department is so large. I love being part of the large cohort of educators. That's exactly what I was telling if the department was big. I like to be around educators. It's amazing. Maybe the school is promoting diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging goals. And they're saying, oh, we're specifically working towards those goals. Mention that you're very passionate about this too. And you put it in your teaching statement. So now it matches everything. So now you have it in the documents, and during the interview, you can repeat it again. I'm really passionate about the ideas your university, your college, your department promotes. Active learning, if you do that, using technology in the classroom, Desmos, Mathematica, whatever you're doing, mention that, oh, you guys keep mentioning that you have those classes. Well, I do it too. So it's a perfect match. Put it in your cover letter. Diverse faculty, you can scroll through which you're supposed to do, and I did for all the schools, through the faculty list, and you see how diverse or not the faculty at the school, and you can mention that you're really happy to be part of the diverse group. You can see the international faculty there, it's amazing, or people of color, or Hispanic people, and you are so happy to be part of that. So mention that in the cover letter too, if you want to. Diverse student body. Quite often on the website, they say we are teaching diverse student body because we are a big school. Everyone come here, lots of international students, lots of people of color, lots of students from first generation, college family, and so on. So mention that if you see that, and so on. So those are my examples. Maybe you saw that they're teaching some special classes you did not see before. For example, data science, statistics, or something like history of math. Mention that, like, oh, I saw you guys teach data science. I always dream to teach that. Even if they don't hire for data science, maybe they only hire some specific people. Doesn't matter. You mentioned, you feel good about it, you're confident. Statistics courses, yeah, I mentioned that. Math history. You're like, oh, I never taught this before, and now I see you guys do have it. I'm so happy. I would love to teach that. And that shows that you did look up the website. Mention why all this matters to you and how you will contribute. So you should sound passionate in your cover letter, connected to the school, and how you will contribute to that. It's a lot of work, if you do not guess. So apply to many positions. Unlike to apply for PhD programs, it's free. So you apply to as many as you can, and then put stuff there, here and there. Yeah?
How many pages do you think is okay?
Oh, cover letter is one. It have to be short, yeah. One letter, one cover letter, and put the most important stuff there.
Oh, I see, like on the strong substances, ask specifically, this bullet point, this bullet point, this bullet point, I'll cover.
Yeah, then follow the bullet points.
Is that okay if it goes to a certificate?
Yeah. Then it's okay. That's a good point. Now, many places, they have specific vision of what they want. Follow the instructions. So follow the instructions. It's okay to have 2 letters. Nobody will penalize you for that, unless it says that. Do not go beyond 2 letters or else we're gonna penalize you, which would be kind of weird. But yeah, that's fine. Just don't make it like a whole book.
I'd also mark it to make it 1 page, but probably not worth it, yeah.
That's what I did.
If
I still
they
made it
have-
look beautiful though. Don't make it like too weird. I still made it beautiful, but I did adjust the margins. Diversity statement or anything related to diversity have to be in your application. Even if they don't require your diversity statement, put it in your personal teaching statement. It have to be there. So you share your experiences as a minority, if applicable. If you are the minority, you should share it. You should share how much you struggle as an international student, how much you struggled as a female in STEM, as a person of color in STEM, and how did you learn that now you can help other students as a minority students. You are the first person in your family who went to college, share that. Nobody in your family could help you. You had to learn everything by yourself. Include any practice steps you've taken to improve. That will be also nice because it means you keep working, keep learning. Your English was not that great when you came to this country originally. Well, now it's much better because you worked on it. That's very good to include in your teaching statement and diversity statement. Participation in diversity-focused workshops and trainings. I hope you have some. So if you don't have some, don't make it up. But if you do, put it there for sure. And you still have time to take any. It can even include broadcasts, YouTube videos, mention that too. That you could not take any trainings because your school did not provide any, for example. So you watch YouTube videos and include that as in the list, and then you can mention it during the interview. And they might actually ask about that during the interview. Oh, didn't you mention you watched YouTube videos? What kind of? You say, oh, I watched videos about diversity and about how the number of female in STEM is keep shrinking the higher level you go, and why is it the problem and how can we improve? So mention that, and you should do some of this. It's very educational and mind-blowing from time to time. Mention how you applied all of this in your classroom. It's one thing that you are improving as a person, which is amazing. But it's another thing if you never mention, now what do you do about it? So mention that you're trying to put it in your classrooms. If you already did, good job, mention that. If you didn't, mention that you trying your best and you want to learn more. Because it is challenging, even for full-time professors, to do that. So you should not be expected to be amazing at this when you just apply to teaching positions. So mention that you're trying your best and you keep learning. Make examples if you did. Don't forget to put as an example, there was a student, as I mentioned before, and you have the student and they were struggling and so on and so on. Explain how you support lists. I give here a list, whatever you did. Don't forget to mention that. LGBTQ plus students, maybe you helped and supported them. Women in STEM, first generation college students, students with disability, ESL international students, and so on. So mention that you are supportive, you understand or try to learn the struggles of minority students in your classrooms, and you're doing your best to learn more. So you don't have to sound perfect, because none of us are. Your idea is to show that you're working very hard to make it better, and you will continue to work very hard. Yeah.
For example, if I would like to, the last one, what would be like your answer? I would not say it, just.
ESL international students, right?
Like explain how you support.
Oh, the first one. I thought the last one.
Women, and,
Oh, so which one are you asking about? All of them or? Huh?
yeah.
Oh, the whole thing. So in my examples, I actually did mention, as a foreigner, I helped a lot to international students and ESL students. I stayed after class and we were translating together terminology in the math class I was teaching as a TA. And we stayed with the vocabulary because also like the phones were not that good yet. And then we wrote down the translation. And during the class, when I mentioned some hard word, I tried to make sure students understand what it means. So I asked American students or people who speak English for synonyms, and they give me a synonym. What is acceleration? Oh, this is a terminology. Are there any synonyms? Do you guys understand what it means? Who have an example? So I keep in mind, people who don't speak English might be lost because of the English, not math part of the class. And also abbreviations. When we use abbreviations like DET, we assume people know what it is, but what if they don't? What if they never see that before? And abbreviations like least common denominator, LCD, right? You put it because it's an American educational system, but many students might not know what it means. So explain that. So I mention it a lot. Women in STEM also, in my classes, I always promote my own experience that I was taught as a female student in STEM not to do math because I'm not good enough at it. But if you keep working and find support, find other women. So I was promoting it in my classroom verbally, and people would approach me and we would have discussions on that. Or I would invite students to our meetings, AWM meetings, Association of Women with Mathematics. I would invite undergraduate students to join me. So I mentioned that too. What else? Some students would approach with complicated issues, which I was not familiar with before. If their parents decide to kick them out of the house because they came out as the part of the LGBTQ plus community. And we're asking what support they can have. I do not know anything about that. So I mentioned that too, that I had to learn what our school provides for support. So I had to contact the advisors. They contacted me with someone else. So all of this matters. It's okay to show that you don't know something, but you're working hard. That was good. Nice, thank you for asking. Most important, not most, but very important, all these key points must be mentioned in your teaching statement, especially if the school does not require a diversity statement or anything alike. So still mention it. It's very important to put it somewhere with examples. So don't make it too vague or else it sounds like you copy it from some book. We can all brag about things we don't know. The moment you put examples there, it means you know what you're talking about, at least about something. Helpful suggestions. Mention your coding experience. You might not know that they are trying to hire someone for statistics classes. They will never mention that, but they probably trying to find someone. Mention that. You never know what at this specific semester people are looking to hire. So you might match whatever they're looking for. You're ready to learn new material and teach it. Oh yeah, I'm ready to learn art, data science. I want to teach this and that. You might change your mind later when they hire you, and you have rights to change your mind. But sounds like you're very open-minded, which you should be. Teaching different classes is important. So it's important to learn how to be ready to learn something new. Oh, you enjoy teaching coordinated courses, which means they are coordinated, they have the same syllabus, same schedule, same exams. Mention that you're interested in coordinating some courses in the future. Mention that, oh, your coordinator was so inspiring that you feel like you can do it and you're so passionate to do it. And that will be very good to say. Somewhere during the interview or in your documents. You enjoy teaching different courses. That is very important. That means whatever they have right now, whatever they need to fill the niche, you are ready and you will love it. And you might change your mind later. I want to mention it again. You don't promise anything. You just mention that, yes, at this moment, you feel very happy about all of this. Most importantly, yeah. Oh, I will also send the PowerPoints or whatever. Yeah, I'm recording everything. So most importantly, be confident. So that is important. You know this phrase that you need to learn how to sell yourself. You have potential. It's hard for math people. I don't know. We don't have, many of us don't have this whole niche where you need to learn how to sell yourself to the market. We just do what we like and we think that should be good enough. Not for the job application. You need to think that of yourself as the best. You should present yourself as the best and you insist that you are the best. Plot twist, even if you don't think so. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. For the application moment of your life, you look for jobs, those 3 bullet points have to be there because everyone else do that. That's what definitely kept me going. Being humble, you can do it later. Being shy, you can do it later. Everyone presenting themselves the best and you're not because you're a humble person, which is fine. But now you're losing the game. Yeah. Hype yourself up for the job application. And after this, whatever, you can hate it, but you must be confident, showing yourself how amazing you are during the interview, in the application, you're passionate, you're the best. And again, even if you don't believe in it yourself, and you should, you probably are amazing. Hype yourself that you will be the best choice, because keep in mind, everyone else doing that, and you're not. And it means your application will be weak. Because everything is on paper, they will have to choose people from hundreds of papers submitted. They will choose people who are the best. And you do not show it, even if you are the best. So that's my point here. Be confident that that's actually must do to any job application. And it's hard. Practice interview questions. You can Google them online.
For that, so not all of the applications are called to interview, right? Or all of them are.
So first you apply through documents. They look through hundreds of people, and then they shrink the list, say to 40 people or 20 people, and they start calling people. Usually it's a phone call, sometimes phone call with a video, Zoom basically. So let me finish listing. So they call you for 5 minutes. Usually that's it, sometimes 10. For 5 minutes they call you, and then you have to sound amazing, and they ask you common questions. Are you still interested? Oh, we actually like your application, and they want to hear how you talk, how confident you are, sometimes with the video. That should be a very short call. So if you do not mess up at that moment, you probably will be pushed higher to the list, and now they will offer you to do this whole day experience. Usually present your teaching in front of everyone. Usually it's come on campus. They will pay for everything. You meet with director, and then there will be a formal interview in front of people, committee. They have like 1 hour list of questions, which you should practice. That's my next slide. So that's usually the strategy. And I went to so many universities when I applied to 160 jobs, and they were all more or less the same. The difference was once I was teaching in front of real students, they just have a class and they gave me to teach it. Others give you a problem and you teach in front of faculty and they pretend to be your students. Another one did it online. I was teaching online through Zoom, and they wanted me to pretend and show the presentation. Then how many people you meet is different, how long the whole thing, 1 day or 2 days, and so on. So that depends on the university. And you're always the best, no matter where you go. And you're also really passionate about that specific place, no matter where you go. That's always like summarizing in my previous slides. So you should practice the interview questions. You can find them online. They're very classic questions. Which courses you like to teach, which you like to teach. How do you like to be part of coordinated courses? Are you passionate about students, minority, and so on? You can Google them. They're actually pretty standard. Make a mock interview with a friend, which means practice. Find a friend. It's nice even if they're applying too. And you actually interview in front of them. Yeah?
So in our case, being a graduate teaching associate, of which you handle classes, like in my case, when I started teaching until now. I'm in my 4th year now. So in terms of, presenting myself during interview, do I still kind of in terms of presenting myself that I'm the best, what are some of the things I should look out for, maybe in order to kind of really improve myself that?
Oh, the potential. That's why I like that animation. You have potential. If you only taught to, say, 1 class at all or 2 classes, and they know what graduate student is teaching, everyone know that. It's probably a small class, probably coordinator is strictly looking at every step you do and everything like that. That's what I was. So I did exactly the same thing. You hype yourself saying that you're so passionate, that you see teaching career as your dream job, and you really want to get to this university you're talking to right now, and you don't want to leave that place ever again, and you want to retire there. And then you sell yourself that I have so much potential, you just need to give me a chance to teach for you. And you will see, starting the 1st semester, I will be amazing. I mean, don't overdoing, I guess, but say, I don't have enough examples to show you right now, but this is what I have, and I'm just so passionate. I have so many ideas and energy, and so you have potential. That's your goal, to show that you will be amazing. Yeah, that's a good point. So mock interview with your friends, and that's when you practice being happy, passionate, and confident. And if you do it several times, you become really good at it. I became very good in my interviews because I went through 40 of them or more. So like at some point, you know all the questions. They said, so what is your favorite? You like favorite class to teach? Yeah. So favorite class teaches this. And like, so what do you think? Oh, about minority? Sure. So you already know all the questions because they're more or less the same. The more you practice, the better. Practice it with your friend and let them hype you that, yeah, make it better. Sound more confident. And then it will be better. So don't be shy, be confident, amazing, the best, look passionate and sound passionate. And you should present yourself as the best. I repeated the same phrase. Try your best to show that you will be amazing when they hire you. Yeah.
So for teaching, like for math or teaching, how would you do outfit for the interview? I mean, is that really matters or that
What matters?
outfit?
Oh, the outfit? Yeah, you have to be look professional. Some people do the whole suit thing. That's probably too much. But you look professional. Don't wear jeans. I definitely saw examples when the person hiring committee felt disrespected that you were wearing jeans. Yeah.
But tie is not.
Tie is too much. Some people do it if you really want to. Actually, whatever makes you feel comfortable but professional. Don't wear jeans. I'm telling you, I saw a person complaining about it in the hiring committee, and that was kind of awkward. Yeah.
That's the most.
I know, but for the interview, for some reason, this thing is disrespectful to the committee. It's not everyone. So, but you never know where you apply, what kind of people are there. So satisfy everyone, which means professional, you look professional, nice, clean, and so on. Yeah.
So for the, about the like phone interview, like for phone call, are they going to call you all of us about it?
No, they schedule. They cannot call you out of sun, yeah. They schedule, especially different time zones and everything.
Yeah.
They might be calling from very far of America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked that multiple times, so I-
Yeah, they schedule and then don't miss the call. And if you missed it, you email right away saying my phone did not work. Can you please call again? And they will, because they want to reach you. Yeah. Good questions, people. Okay, now what questions to ask them? That was a very good suggestion I was given before my interviews by a colleague, actually a professor, teaching professor, that you should ask a good question. At the end of each interview, phone, no phone, in person, no in person, they ask you, what questions do you have for us? And it's not a requirement to have them, but you should have good questions. Because if you don't have any, it kind of looks you don't care. Or you're too tired, or you kind of like, whatever, just let's get over with it. Because that's what it's going to be. They will say, okay, let's go. So I was recommended to have several questions, and I tried them all in like 40 or 50 interviews I did, and they were really good. And now I suggest them to people.
But what do you mean? It's not interview for myself?
Oh, you interview them because they will be your colleagues. You interview them too. You cannot have a lot of questions. It can be like 2, 3 maximum. How much time left? Sometimes there's only 5 minutes left, sometimes 2 minutes left. And they would say, I'm so sorry, we're running behind. Do you have like at least one question? Okay, ask the most important one. But you should know that you also interview the place you're going to. If they are bullying there, everyone who teach, you don't want to go there. And you better find out early. If they don't respect women, for example, and you are female applying for jobs, you don't want to be there. So you better learn as soon as possible
Oh, no.
from questions. So here's my questions. Ask about student and faculty population. That question was very standard. If you don't know what to ask about this. Say that I'm coming from a place where our students coming from different cultures. What do you guys have here? What kind of classrooms do you teach? What kind of people are in your classrooms? How about the faculty? What kind of different faculty members do you have? They will talk about that. What kind of course and service lot? So how much service you are expected to do, how many courses to teach, and how big the classes are. Ask about that. That means you're already becoming very specific and you're very interested in knowing those things. Will I have supportive colleagues, supportive administration? You don't have to ask about this question, but I did. I wanted to know if the environment I'm going to will be supportive of me teaching, because I came from one of the places that did not respect teachers. And I was the only one there who loved teaching. So I felt a little bit isolated. So when I applied for jobs, I asked about this. And I said, I would like to be around people who love to teach. Are my colleagues are supportive? Is my administration supportive or not? And you will see the awkward faces if they don't have that. They will give it away accidentally when they're like, oh, well, yeah, we're trying our best. That's the answer for your question. They gave it away. Do they offer a visa? It's a sketchy question to ask. You don't have to, but it would save your time not to continue with them if you need the visa and they don't offer it. So I asked that question at some point for sure. Ask about the housing in the area, daily commute. That means you're thinking about their location. It's very good to ask questions about how do you guys live here? Like, do you live far? How do you commute? Do you have to have a car? How do you like living here in general? So you ask about the climate, the weather. How do you like the weather here? That means you're already deciding to go. It means you're not lying when you say, I really want to go to your school. So they will now be convinced, even though you said it 35 times to other schools. And finally, after your last interview, I asked 2 questions and they were the best thing ever. It was not my idea, someone recommended to me. Why do you like working here? And that's how you interview them. You ask people in your committee or people at the lunch, because sometimes they take it for lunch. Why do you guys like working here? And they will give it away if they like it or not by their face and the voice. Some of them will like, oh, it's just, it's nice to have a job. Now you know they don't like it here. And they're hiring someone probably because other people left. And you can see the reactions like, oh, it's amazing. Like this faculty here we have is so supportive. The students are just blessing. I love doing this and that. Oh, our director, yeah, our director is such a nice person. That's what you want to hear. That's how you interview there. And the last question was very smart. Why did you choose me out of all the candidates to come to your place? That's the very end. When you already arrived there, or it was like last interview, answer this question. Why did you choose me out of 200 people? And that's when they start praising you. And that's very tricky, very good psychological trick. When the interview is over, they will remember what they praised you. You go home and now they remember what they said. So I did it too. It was the best thing. And they suddenly got so confused. And they're like, oh yeah, well, oh, you really love teaching diversity students and we want that. And some other professor said to me, oh, you love animations and like applications with technology. We really wanted that. And so I'm like, oh, also she also had those awards. Like, yeah. And some other person, oh, your recommendation letters are amazing. Like people definitely love you. I'm like, oh, nice to know, nice to know. And then I left home. What was the last conversation we had? They praised me. And if you ask this question before the interview starts, say the director was, I also did that once. The director was talking to me and I asked, what questions do you have before you have all the interviews? I asked the question, why do you think they chose me, the committee? And he says, I did not choose you because I'm not part of the hiring. I'm only part of the last interview. So they chose you. But what I was told that we're really looking forward to hire someone with math biology part, and you were fit that. So you showed in your documentation that you're very good at math biology, and we want something like that. So when I was giving now all my presentation, I mentioned it like twice. I presented my teaching saying, oh, by the way, I'm so happy to teach math biology classes. Like, I don't know how I knew that. I never mentioned who told me that. So you may accidentally find out what they're looking for, and now you can push that through. So that also was interesting. Spoiler alert, I did get an offer from those places I mentioned. I just, then I was deciding to choose them or not. And other questions, figure out good questions. Those are just my suggestions, and they really worked in my interviews. Networking, before going to networking, I will go through common mistakes. But actually, I reserved this room for an extra 20 minutes, so we don't have to leave. I was very smart with that. Yeah. Common mistakes is what I definitely want to mention for sure. Mentioning the wrong school, that was awkward. Don't do that. Don't do that. If it's, University of Pittsburgh, it's not the same as Pittsburgh University. That might be different schools. State Pittsburgh and the University of Pittsburgh might be also different schools. So keep an eye on that. In person, accidentally, and in documents. In documents, it's even worse. Surprisingly, happens often. Yeah. Yes. That's why I had different folders and I tried my best to be like very careful about this. Talking about research too much. Okay, I understand you're passionate about things you do. It's amazing. We all love math and research is your part of your passion. But if it's too much, you give kind of the feeling that you're not gonna apply for this job because you want to, but because you don't have other choices. It's possible you're looking for a postdoc position and everyone denied you, so your backup plan is this school. It's very expensive to restart hiring again. So if you leave in 1 year, it's bad for the school and bad for the community. A good teaching community is where people stay for more than 5 years. They get to know each other, they collaborate, they trust each other. If people coming and leaving every year, it's not really good for anyone. It's expensive to hire more people every year, and the community is not stable. So they want to see that you really want to stay here for several years. And it's a popular question people ask. What you see yourself in several years? And you should say, I'm seeing myself in your school to be a professor at some point, coordinator, publisher, whatever. And you can say, I see still myself doing research, but additional to teaching for myself. So you don't talk about research too much. It's kind of distracting from the main goal. You don't sound boring. Don't be not interested. It's just not good. Even if you're very sleepy, it's 5 in the morning because the time zone is different. Once my interview was 3 at night because of difference in time. Yes, you sound exciting. It's the best place to work at. They called you. It's your 5th interview of the day. It's the best call you ever had. You have to sound very good. You have to sound interested. Mhm.
So, like, after we graduate, of course, we would like to find a permanent position, but the ones that are more accessible maybe are the temporal ones,
Mhm.
whether for teaching or for research. So how we will deal with this, knowing that, this is like 1 year term or.
That's a good
something
question.
like
You
that.
ask them about this right away. Maybe even the first call when they do the 5 minutes call, you ask them, is this really a 1 year position? What are my chances to stay and work for you for like 10 years? They will like this question. And I asked this question before and they said, no, it's annual. It's really this year we needed another professor and we cannot guarantee we will need you next year. So I did not move on. I just didn't. Unless you're hopeless, I would do that. But that's too dangerous, especially in the visa status. I do not even consider those positions because visa cannot do that. They have to apply for visa for me. So I was very open about that, saying I want to relocate and settle down. Even if you don't know what you're gonna do, you can mention that. So you say, I really want a position where I'm gonna be staying for many years. You guys sure I cannot be guaranteed the job, and they will tell you the truth. And then it's up to you to consider or not. Yeah. More common mistakes. Some people complain about students. They kind of sound annoying about teaching students. So don't do that. Even if you are annoyed by students, maybe you had a bad day and today specifically students really bothered you with some extension request and just gave you extra credit right before final exam. Don't bring this to the interview. Don't sound annoyed. Complaining about coordinated courses. Some students don't like to be coordinated. They feeling to be individuals, the independent people. Most schools have coordinated courses, so you lose points by complaining about it. Even again, if you do not like it, it's all your personal opinion, but you need to target what the people are looking for. And probably they want you to be part of the coordinated course. So don't complain about that. Don't complain about your school authority. Sounds weird, but it happened before. You had professors, directors that criticized you. Yeah, don't go there. Don't complain about authority because you will have authority at a new school and now they're afraid you're a troublemaker. So don't sound like a troublemaker. Don't push your teaching style too much. Some people are very passionate about their teaching styles, which is amazing because they're doing an amazing job and you can do that. But don't say that this style I learned is amazing, it works so much. And personally, I believe everyone else who are not using it are super old and they're not doing the best job. Yeah, you're talking to people who probably not using it. So that doesn't sound good. All of this happened before, so be careful with these things. Or technology. Of course, I'm using right now technology, blah, blah. And it's so amazing. I'm so passionate. Students love it. They give me good feedback. And to be honest, I think people who don't use this technology just so behind, like why we're not using it. Yeah, you're talking to people who probably don't use it. So you should not criticize that as well. Don't criticize other teaching styles in general, even if you're very confident about things you're talking about. Now, before questions, I wanted to mention networking. Make connections in LinkedIn. I only created LinkedIn for the job applications. And then I went to schools that I applied, many, and just randomly just sent math people invites. And many of them accepted. You never know. Many people don't bother check. So now when you apply to the job, if they care about LinkedIn, they can see that you have connections with the school somehow. So I did that. I'm not sure if it helped, but I think nowadays it's even more important than the year I was applying. And I was applying in 2017. Have your own web page somewhere online, add links of that web page to your CV. Again, I'm not sure how much helpful it is, but I think it is. I created a nice web page with my picture on there, so they know I'm a real human. This is how I look, this is my degrees, and I have a whole collection of tools I'm using for teaching there. It says amazing tools, so they could actually look at it. And then I put link in my CV. And then when I was presenting at the interviews, I clicked on that link and showed them, if in case you guys did not see, this is my whole collection of animations I show in class, black holes in calculus 3, magnetic fields and zebra genetics, whatever I learned from math biology classes. I put in calculus 2, backpropagation and chain rule, image recognition. And people are so impressed because they did not check it ahead of time. When I was showing it, it was literally in my CV and it was all in one website. My website was flawless. And so I'm very upset it got deleted without warning last year. So I would put effort into that. Chat with people at the conferences. That's works a lot too. Ask them about teaching positions and so on. Don't be shy. Approach visiting speakers at your school. We invite people for you to make connections. So when you leave the room without saying hi or talking, you're kind of losing the opportunity. So approach them saying, oh, I'm actually looking for teaching positions and I really like your talk. What about your school? Do you guys applying? Make connections. Ask around your school. You might not know that we have people who are actively talking around with other people. That can be your graduate director. In our case, it can be Rhonda because she is manager of communication and other cool titles I don't remember. Sorry, Rhonda is watching that. And they might have talked just yesterday with someone who looking for a teaching position, a person to fill up the teaching position. So they might know more than you think, and they might have opinion about schools you're applying to, because they have years of experience with other students. You apply for the school B and they give you offer, talk to them, and they say, this school is super bad. Like they're gonna fire you next year without saying anything. So maybe that will also help you to avoid bad places. I would do that for sure. And my last slide, you will never guess what. Questions. Okay, now ask me questions. We still have like 15 minutes to go. Yeah. You mentioned lots of things, so I will share all of this with you.
So what, if you will be in a hiring committee for teaching faculty here at ASU, for example, that you will do. So what are the top 3 things that you will run, like prioritize from the candidates?
Whatever we mentioned, yeah. I'm not supposed to mention anything specific about our school, but whatever I mentioned is there. Passion in teaching, experience, your confidence of being amazing at this specific school. So those things, every school wants that. Every school wants to see that you will like it here and you're not going to leave in a year and you will be good at what you do. It's kind of like surprisingly just common sense that that's what they're looking for. So try to see it from their point of view, whatever the committee is in any school, and create the application from this point of view. Yeah. That's why you should not forget anything. Put everything in your CV because you never know what that school is looking for additional to common sense things. Good teaching, passion, eager to stay there. Maybe they're also looking for statistics people as example, or teaching students with disability. And you, by chance, just went to a workshop about that. Don't forget to put it. So you never know what will help. That's why CV, I would say, is super important to be full and complete. Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen a situation where they ask some behavioral questions like, suppose you're in a class and one of the students is diagnosed to come to class and the reason being that she doesn't like to study in a group, but wants to study on her own. How would you approach that?
Oh yeah, those questions are my least favorite, the scenario questions. So luckily you have the easiest answer as if you are a graduate student, 90% of answers should be this. Oh, it's a very important situation and I'm taking it to my administrator. I'm taking it to my coordinator, my professor, my graduate director. So because you're a graduate student, you actually don't have rights to decide on many things. But the good thing is you're not expected to know those things because you're not a full-time teacher. So you don't have lots of experiences. So that was very easy for me to answer those questions. I remember them too. And I'm saying, yeah, I can see how that will be the issue, not working in the group. I would take it to my coordinator because my coordinator has lots of experience. We actually meet every week and I always ask those questions. How would you teach that? Oh, we have an amazing relationship because, I love teaching. So, and that's how you make it look good. So actually that's the easiest one. If you already teach for 5 years, you cannot say that anymore. You have to figure out actually what to do. But as a graduate student, you can always say you go to authority and they will help you to decide on that. They might ask you, those scenarios, you have like a student who starts yelling at you in the classroom, how did you deal with that? Or imagine you had it, how would you deal with that? Those things you need to know. You're supposed to know that you de-escalate the conflict. You tell students, please, let's talk about outside of the classroom. And let's meet today at my office hours, talk with them on one-on-one, and then take this problem to your coordinator. So it still end up to be going to authority and asking for help. Moreover, showing during the interview that you are okay asking for help is very good. Because many professionals, say people who taught for 10 years, they sometimes believe they know everything. But no, it's very good when a person's saying, no, I will ask for help. Because it means it will help you not to make mistakes that authority will have to fix later. That you yell at someone back, now they have complained and they will have to decide what to do about you. Or you gave extra credit and you were not supposed to, that's illegal, and so on. So it's nice to tell them, oh, no, I will definitely ask for help to know that I'm doing everything right. And they have more experience than me, so it makes sense. Yeah.
What if the interview went really bad?
What?
If the interview went really bad, is there any way to fix it later?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, I forgot to mention the thank you letter. If the interview went not as good as you think, you can try to fix it in your thank you letter. So thank you letter, everyone should send it after the interview, usually the same day or even next day is fine, to the committee, saying that you can even email it to one person of the committee and saying, please share with other committee members that I'm so grateful for this opportunity. That's like a classic stuff. And then there you can say, I actually did not have time to tell you that, blah, blah, blah. Or I was really nervous at that moment. I hope it did not look bad because usually I'm very confident. Or that's your last chance to fix it. So I actually had interviews which I thought I did bad, and then I got the job offer, which was at the school. And I'm not sure how actually it was, but in my thank you letter, I mentioned that I had the jet lag from coming back from China. And when I was giving my presentation at 3 p.m., this is when I would sleep. So I said that some things I misunderstood, some questions you guys asked, but I'm just letting you know that my brain was shutting down. So I hope it did not look as bad as I think, because usually I'm very active and amazing or whatever, So I don't know how much it actually fixes anything, but that's your last chance to do it. To explain yourself and to brag about something more. Something you thought about only afterwards. I forgot to mention, I just got a new award. Or I forgot to mention, I was invited to give a talk about teaching somewhere. So they will share it with other committee members because you asked about it. So it kind of adds on top of your application. Yeah. And you always praise. It was an amazing interview, actually much better than my other interviews, or you don't have to mention about others. And I'm really looking forward. You can even mention this is your target place. Your school, yes, I applied for other places, but your school is my top one choice. I'm really looking forward to see what the result is. Please let me know as soon as possible because I cannot wait. I said that too. I remember saying that. Yeah, and I was one of the first people they mentioned the results because I asked for that. For the visa purposes, I need to know fast, and I'm really worried about it. So they told me earlier than they should have. Yeah, I think. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I just think that they told me earlier. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the school and how many people apply. So I think Harvard has like hundreds of applications, maybe even 1,000. Other schools have 200. Some schools will have 55. So it all depends on that. But they try to go fast because they may lose applicants if they're too slow. Yeah. Also, when you get an offer, you have usually a week to decide on it. So you can wait for other offers and you can ask them to please let me wait, and then I will decide later. So we had cases when people denied and then they regretted it because another offer wasn't as good, or they got an offer after they accepted already and they did not get there. So there are some cases. Timing is not the best, of course. It doesn't usually match between offers.
So the salary, do you have the opportunity to kind of, go back and forth?
So depends on the school, but you always should try. If you had several offers and some of them give you more money than others, you should. I remember I did too. Oh, I actually have an offer like with $5,000 more. I know that you guys already decided on the salary, but do you think you can do that? Because now I'm hesitant. Even though I really want your place, but now I'm hesitant financially. And they will usually are honest about it. They will say, no, we're not allowed. Or they will say, let me ask the director. So you can always try. It's not a bad thing to do it. Yeah. It's super awkward, but it's not a bad thing to do it.
Not bad, people do not see you wrong if you have like order of a letter.
No,
Oh, they know that you already.
they
have
know,
it.
everyone know. Your
Okay.
job is to make them believe that you really want to be there. But when it comes to accepting offers, that's when the time you can argue a little bit.
So
Yeah.
they know if I receive an offer from.
No, of course not. Only if you reveal it. No, so they will ask for the proofs. Yeah,
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the offer.
yeah.
So I will send it.
Usually they ask for the proof, so you cannot lie.
Send.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. I did not think about it. They will, yeah, they need to know the proof.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah, good job. Yeah, keep going.
When did you go to most of the interview? What's the typical time window for the, especially
Dep-
outside interview?
Depends on how good the school is. So the best schools, they close early and they start early. That is already December, January. And then some weaker schools, they do it later. However, there are some kind of exceptions. So if a school usually does it in December, but some kind of financial question was not resolved by the upper administration, they're delaying the hire, and now it ends up to be in February, which actually happened in my case. So sometimes it's just a coincidence. I went to most of them in May, kind of late, April, May. That's were most of my interviews. Some of them were done in February. Yeah, that's,
So
I remember that
it's
too.
early?
That's, some of them might do December.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, are they going during the, or around the Christmas break time? Or
I don't think so. Christmas, nobody will. I'm pretty sure.
Like, one
So,
week
so
before?
because on the interview, you usually, during the interview in person, you meet with the director, they cannot do it during Christmas.
So-
People will be out.
Not during the winter.
Yeah, yeah. It's usually after the winter break. Right after, actually. They sometimes invite you to meet like January 5 or something. Or, yeah.
Personally, I'm very hesitant and, like nervous about the teaching going.
Oh, yes. Practice it. Practice it with a friend.
But I don't know what topic I will teach, I don't know what.
So that's a good question. Some schools gives you a list of 5 questions and you choose one. And it's often different areas. Here's statistical, algebra, calculus, physics, whatever, application of physics. And you choose whatever you like, and then you stick to it. And then you prepare it with a friend, present it to your friend. Hopefully the one that knows math, so they can give you some suggestions like, didn't you forget like something, some typo? Practice many times, you'll be fine. Some schools allow you to choose. And some schools, which was the most interesting case I remember, they told me, you will teach in a real classroom. We cannot guarantee what topic it is going to be because it's like week by week. So when we have a schedule of you coming, then we can find out what topic it's going to be, but it's somewhere between areas below graphs and application of an integral. And like, okay, I can do that. So then they give it to you on the day or the day before.
So you
And that
say-
was the most interesting. There were real students there and they were given a choice to vote if they liked me or not. I liked it a lot. That was an amazing idea. Yeah. And professors were sitting at the back watching me. And they would ask real questions. Students would be confused about the area below the graph, and they wanted to see how I react on those questions. And usually professors also ask questions pretending they're students. to see how you react. Are you being annoyed by questions? Are you being polite? Are you good in explaining things? Or you just like, you know what? Well, because it is, like it is. And then you just move on.
From previous course.
Yeah, so you should not do that. You should actually explain and be polite and so on.
So what I like to do whatever it takes to in that presentation class and what I shouldn't do.
Just, I would say, do your best. So imagine it's like someone came to see you teach. You really want to impress them. So use as many tools as you can, all the applications you've ever learned, dashboards and so on, impress people. So they will see, say, 10 different presentations. How was your presentation different? So actually that reminded me. You can try to be memorable by bringing something interesting. So I show this sometimes. Oh, look at this. I show it as a vector field in my Calculus 3 classes. It's called a juggling slinky, and it looks like a vector field. Or I show about the sphere, cylinder inscribed in the sphere. Let's find the area between, the volume. And then it doesn't matter what is it, but they will remember it. They will like, oh, that was that girl with this weird thing she brought. It was so cool. But yeah. Yeah, something that they will remember will be nice. And try to make at least amount of mistakes if you do. And if you do make mistakes, don't get scared. Saying like, oh yeah, thank you for pointing out there was a typo. Yeah, I did it on purpose. So do that. I think actually, oh no, that's fine. Always make it look good that you know that you can make mistakes. You know how to communicate about that and you're not afraid. Yeah. Feeling comfortable is the best, but it's very hard to feel comfortable during the interview because it's scary. So just doing your best, showing them, okay, I know what I'm doing and I can do it well. I think I messed up a couple of times, but that's because I'm worried. So that's good to be honest about it too. We don't know, especially nowadays. When I was applying, many of them were in person. Now, with the Zoom being available and everything, it's just convenient, I guess, for everyone to be online. Less interaction though, and less chances to impress on a personal level. But also better if you're not very impressive on a personal level. If you're not a person who will leave impression during the whole day in person, then online is also nice. Then they did not really see how your English is sometimes off and stuff. You have this like 4 hours to impress them. You did it, you go, And it's much shorter if it's online.
So sorry to go back to the lecture. So in the lecture, you are allowed to have like expressions or you have to have everything.
Oh, that's a good question. Many people are always thinking, what about it? Have your notes, it's fine. But have your notes and tell them, sometimes I teach without notes, but today I will hold my notes because I'm nervous. Because I'm nervous.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. Be honest about that,
okay.
Have your notes, I would, oh, for sure. And I was very honest about like, no, sometimes I can do it without, but today, no. Like, I'm too nervous for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
To be honest, people will laugh, they will smile, and they will like, no, don't worry. We're really excited for you. Don't worry, we'll be kind. So it makes also a nice atmosphere to be honest about that you worried. Yeah, it becomes more human rather than you like a robot showed up without note. Without notes, it's fine. You show up, okay, let's start. X squared plus 5. Let's find the derivative. Being a human helps a lot. Yeah. Good questions, people. Good job. I can see you imagining the process in your mind. Okay, let me stop recording. And then, you're welcome. Yeah, I hope it will be helpful for everyone who watched.
So I see you have like teaching